turned it on over there and not my own mic. So it's a little after 6. We are ready to get started if you're ready to get started. Mayor Bryant DeLong is out of town. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem, so I will be leading the session, and we are ready for the work session. My mic's on.
There we go. Well, good evening, Council. So tonight I just wanted to share information about the park sales tax, answer any questions that you may have or questions that somebody hopefully at home is watching, be able to answer a question that they may have. So currently the Park Sales Department is funded by a tax levy. It is currently set at the max level. We have shared fees with Casey Moe for a dog park, fees for programs and rentals that we do. We also get some donations, and then we try and do sponsorships whenever we can. And we are also funded by the Gaming Fund. There's an annual transfer that goes into the Parks Department, and that helps with administrative fees, with public work fees, and also major capital improvement projects such as the Ball Diamond. The Parks Department has been conservative with its fund balance in order to handle emergencies and also plan for small projects like the tennis court lighting. As you know, the annual cost of providing services to our residents continues to increase as we serve our residents and the surrounding communities. At the same time, a lot of our revenues are remaining the same or in some instances decreasing. This past fall, we took a reduction when the Clay County property surtax reduction was implemented. Post-COVID, the cost of operations, materials, constructions, everything has increased significantly. All these factors have resulted in a decrease to our financial reserves. So, the crux of it, what is the park sales tax? It would be a sales tax collected on certain retail sales made within North Kansas City and would be dedicated solely for funding local parks and related activities and improvements. So what the consumer really wants to know is, what is this going to cost me? The ballot asks for 1/4 of 1% or simply 1/4 of a penny. It would cost the consumer an additional 25 cents for every $100 spent within North Kansas City on certain retail sales. Some might say, does that even make any sense? That's not very much money. But the thing is that change does matter, and this could have an impact of $800,000 annually to our revenue. As you're aware, we're a unique little city. We're a hot spot. We have about 4,500 residents. We have incredible accessibility into our city, and we draw people from all over the place. The major payers in this tax equation would be the non-residents who frequent our cities. They eat here, they shop here, they play here. This tax applies not only to the residents who live here, but anybody who visits or works in North Kansas City and shops here. It would apply to them as well. We have beautiful parks in North Kansas City. We offer great programs, sports opportunities, an amazing new Ball Diamond, festivals, and other special events that are heavily attended by non-residents. The other day at bingo, I asked the participants to raise your hand if you're a resident. 14 out of 72 people raised their hand. That's almost 19% were residents. This holds true for all of the parks offerings that we have. Think about Degg Park on a hot summer day. Yes, there are residents there, but they're not the ones showing up by the carload with their Happy Meals and then going across the street to Dairy Queen afterwards for a treat. And some may think, great, I don't want all those non-residents here. I like it as it is. But the truth is, without them, we don't thrive. Our resident population is not enough to sustain our community. Bingo is not fun with 14 people. I mean, sure, it increases your odds of winning, but after a while, a little boring. A youth baseball team doesn't run with less than 5 teams, and a water park without kids running around that's just not really fun either. So the proposed sales tax would ensure that non-residents share in the cost of improving and sustaining the park systems. We have dedicated funding source for the local parks When we have this dedicated funding source, that frees up money for other departments, street improvements, and capital improvement projects that benefit our citizens. The park sales tax would allow the parks to move toward being self-sufficient. The revenue generated from the park sales tax would be used to fund operations, activities, improvements, and maintenance. The new revenue would allow for repairs to existing infrastructure in a proactive, planned approach. This past year, we identified a slide across the street from our office that needs to be replaced due to a risk hazard. It's 18 years old, but it's $28,000 to replace that slide. At Degg Park, it's going to be 9 years old this summer, and it's starting to separate at some of the seams. This was $7,000 2 years ago. I can only imagine that that cost has now increased. When I started with the city 23 years ago at the community center, the Parks and Rec department at that time had 5 employees. I think they were all full-time, I'm not sure. But they handled Mackin Park and Will Park. They offered youth baseball and soccer, some senior programming, a few small events for the kids, and shelter rentals. Previously, too, the Buildings and Grounds Department did most of the maintenance, the upkeep, the ball field rentals, the dragging, that kind of thing. Over the years, the city has grown tremendously, and this has carved away the amount of time that Buildings and Grounds, now known as Municipal Services, is able to offer us. Parks has included a spray park now, a recreation center that does rentals, a dog park, and soon River Forest Park. Our staff has grown to 8 full-time employees, 3 part-time employees, and a couple of seasonal employees for the summer if we're lucky. The amount of programming we now offer is for all ages, the number of shelter and indoor rentals we handle annually, and the level of festivals and special events offered have grown by leaps and bounds. River Forest, once completed, will be another amazing asset to the city. It'll offer green space, community gathering, playground features, walking trails, and most importantly, it will offer a safe walking accessibility to residents on the other side of I-35. I'm proud to be a part of the North Kansas City's park system and encourage everyone to go out and vote on April 4th. On the nkc.org website, under the Parks and Recreation tab, you can find more information and the list of infrastructure items and capital improvement projects that we would like to explore with the park sales tax. Thank you.
Councilman Smith?
Thank you for the presentation. I have a few questions here. So first off, 72 people at bingo.
Ooh.
What are you guys giving away here that I'm not aware of? That's fantastic. Okay, you mentioned certain retail sales. What does that include and not include?
So Kim can help me a little bit here. Like, it does not include automobiles. It doesn't include gas. I believe it is food that is prepared. It does include.
It includes food that's prepared but not raw food, meaning food that you buy at a grocery store is actually taxed at multiple different rates. It actually has to do if you has wheat and flour in it, meaning candy bars versus a bag of flour are taxed at 2 different rates. One's considered a prepared food, one is considered raw food, and they are taxed at different rates.
Okay. Are there any, so cars, gas, any other like major exclusions from this? Like what about building materials and things like that? Is that all going to roll up under this?
So it depends on if those are called retail sales or if they're B2B or B2C.
Okay, B2C will be included, B2B not?
Correct.
Okay, all right. You mentioned 800,000 as a projection. What is the current parks revenue? What's that number?
So our budget this year was, I believe, just a little bit over $1 million.
Okay, so we're like 80% increase potentially in the budget. That's
Right.
phenomenal for a quarter of a cent. And then you mentioned on one of the slides that it would free up money for other uses. I think you said that the levy is, or the tax allocation is set at 68% right now. Would we be looking at lowering that to send money back to the city, or how does that look?
So for the tax levy, that's actually being reduced by the Clay County surtax reduction.
Okay,
So the money that the city would gain back is they would no longer have to help fund out of the gaming fund. So it would free up all those funds that they now give us annually, and hopefully for capital improvement projects, we would be able to be self-sustaining.
okay. And do you remember what that was for this year or the last couple of years from the gaming fund?
So our annual appropriation is about $170,000.
Okay.
And that helps pay for labor. That's personnel cost.
Okay.
So the thought process would be, should this move forward in our next budget cycle, there would be a conversation of what that appropriation would look like moving forward.
Perfect. Okay. That's all I've got. I'm fully in support of this, and I hope that others will as well.
Councilman Saper?
I am fully in support of this as well. And I really like the idea of actually not using gaming fund for ongoing expenses, but reserving that for special projects, capital improvements, things like that. And we've done that with some other things, such as a water system and others. And this is a step forward to do that. And this is a fantastic thing, and I hope people come out and vote yes on this.
Can you go back one slide? For people that want to support the Parks and Recreation and they see Proposition P and they want to support it, you vote yes on Prop P in April, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that if you want to support, we're voting yes on Prop P.
I guess I'm in support of this, but I was curious what all is being done to kind of get the word out. I know there's the first round of mailers, and it was mentioned at the State of the City last week, and curious if there's anything else in the pipeline.
We have a visit. We'll be going to North Cape Village to do a presentation as well next week, I believe it is. And then the park board is also doing, let me call the park board up.
Did you say you're doing a Northgate Village thing?
Yes, like a resident village, sharing with them what we do for senior programming, as well as about the park sales tax and encouraging them to go out and vote.
Is that the gardens? or
The
okay,
gardens,
thank you.
yes, I'm so
I've
sorry.
not heard about this. Okay.
Yeah, the gardens.
Okay, so as the non-city employee, Parks Board treasurer, I can say, here's what we're doing on the Parks Board side. So we have these flyers that we've designed at our expense and put out. We're passing them out around all 4 awards. It has the same QR code on here that's on the educational information, so they can say, and we're specifically saying, please vote yes, so there's no confusion on what a yes or no vote means. And just some of the highlights of the quarter cent. I mean, and just telling people that if you go spend $100 at Chicken and Pickle, leave a quarter on the table, and that's essentially what the tax is. It's very minimal, but it'll have huge rewards for the parks. And I just, while I'm here, want to say Victoria is doing a fantastic job of making sure our income is coming from different sources and getting the gaming money off the plate, because we all know that's not going to continue forever. So good job to you. Any other questions about what we're doing from a get out the
No,
vote?
I was just curious.
Okay.
It's cool to hear. Thank you.
Oh, I got one more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so on the ballot language, this part we see in the green, dark green quote, that's what it will say, right?
Correct, on the
So-
ballot.
Okay, on the ballot. There is no like subtext to suggest what it will raise or any of that, or any
No,
clarifiers?
This is what is statutorily, so we have been advised in the past not to modify what is in the statutory
Okay.
language. That way there's clear authorization.
Don't want somebody repealing it because of some formality. Yeah. Yeah, let the state play games with ballot language. That's all from me.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of your work, and I'm so proud of the Parks and Board and for all of you guys for all you've done for this, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I would say ditto. I know this has been a long time in the making, and this looks great. I think the presentation was great. I'm in full support of it. I know it's so tricky to walk around the neighborhood to say, this is what it is. Do what you will with the information I've supplied you. But I think the biggest piece, too, is freeing up the gaming fund and knowing all the projects that we have throughout the city. And this is such a small ask. So I just think it's really well prepared, and I think it's going to all the right causes and all the things that are coming up for you guys. There's a long laundry list that I've seen that wasn't even presented today, but good job.
Move to adjourn?
Maybe move to adjourn?
Second?
Okay, meeting adjourned. We'll see you back here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, do I have to call for?